Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
ma'am.
ma'am.
I hope you
Good
guys
morning,
are
ma'am.
doing well. Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. So, this is gonna be my first session to take here. So, I'm expecting that you all like me too. Well, obviously, Gaurav is of another level, but I guess I have my chances too. So, this is Akanksha Bhagat of Triple E 6. Okay. Before going to the session, I would like to appreciate all of your activeness. You all are doing amazing. It's nice watching you guys making effort and thoroughly participating in every session. So thank you for being part of LK Club. So let's get started with today's session. Today's session is again the comprehension one, where I'll be narrating the story, and at the end, I'm going to ask questions from the story. So I'll be asking three questions. Okay. The story is again the mythological one, and it has been taken from Garud Puran. You may ask questions after I end my narration. So assuming that all of you are ready,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
okay. So I'm starting the representation, okay? I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm starting the narration, okay? To eat meat is right or wrong? We'll get this answer from Lord Ram. Once Lord Ram was sitting in a jungle. Suddenly, a deer came by and hid behind him. Chasing the deer, a hunter came. Then Lord Ram asked Hunter, "What you're going to do with this deer?" Hunter answered him that I want to have this deer's meat. The Lord Ram told that you cannot hunt this deer because they do have their lives. Then also, Hunter won't listen to him and want his hunt back. Ramji said, I will, if you listen to a story of mine. The hunter agreed, assuming that his time will be passed by listening this story and he'll get his hunt back without a fight. So, Ramji started. Once upon a time, there was a kingdom facing crop crisis. The king was worried for his kingdom and asked for suggestions to deal with this problem from his mantris. One of his mantri, who was fond of eating meat, said that everyone should start eating meat. King thought asked his Mahamantri for his opinion over eating meat. Mahamantri requested time till tomorrow. Later that night, Mahamantri went to the Mantri's house who proposed that the whole kingdom should eat meat. Mahamantri said to Mantri that king has fever and doctors say that the only way to save his life by feeding him 2 grams of meat of heart of a man of great honesty close to king, and we have decided that you are that man. So you can trade your just 2 grams of heart meat for 1 lakh of gold coins. The Mantri refused, thinking, what will I do with the money if I'm dead? Mahamantri also offered him the whole kingdom for 2 grams of his heart, but he refused. So Mahamantri went to other Mantri's house and proposed the same deal. All of them refused. Next day, when Darbar started, all the Mantris asked about King's health. King said he is absolutely fine. Then the Mantris explained King the matter. King called Mahamantri and asked him. Mahamantri said, I have collected this much money for just 2 grams of meat. So this is the value of 2 grams of meat. King understood the motive and rejected the idea of eating meat. Rather, he used the collected money to grow crops. Soon agriculture again prospered and the kingdom again became prosperous. Listening to a story, Hunter understood the value of life and promised to never hunt again. Okay, so I hope you all understood the story.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here is my questions for you all. The first one is the basic one, obviously from the comprehension. So, how much money was offered by Mahamantri in exchange of 2 grams of meat? Okay,
1 lakh.
1 lakh.
1 lakh
one
gold
lakh
coin.
gold coin.
you can answer. There are two more questions. Okay, you can answer it at once. Okay. The second one is, do you think eating non-veg is ethical for humans? And the third one is, if you were the king, what would you have done in order to end crop crisis? If you were a non-vegetarian king, okay? I hope you all get the question.
Ma'am.
So take your time and answer it, okay? Anyone up for the answer?
Ma'am, would you please repeat the question?
The first one is, how much money was offered by Mahamantri in exchange of 2 grams of meat? I guess all of you know this, so all of you are correct for that. The second one is, do you think eating non-veg is ethical for humans? And the third one is, if you were the king, what would you have done in order to end crop crisis? If you were a non-vegetarian king. Anyone? Should I repeat the questions one more?
Ma'am, what was the second question?
Second one is, do you think eating non-veg is ethical for humans or not?
Can I answer the questions?
I think sometime it may be.
Saurabh was first one, I guess. Saurabh?
Yes, yes. And answer, as
Yes.
everybody knows, 1 lakh volts. And second answer is, I think it is unethical for humans to eat meat. And third answer,
Okay.
I would like to say, if I were the king, then I could have done like that. I could have encouraged more, more peoples to do farming, and I could have
Yes.
mm, work on the basic things like irrigation problems and many problems faced by the farmers.
Saurabh, you need
Okay.
to justify your answer as well for the second question.
Okay. Can I justify after 2 minutes? I need to.
All right, all right.
Okay. Devendra was the second one. Devendra?
First answer is 1 lakh gold coin, and second answer is I think eating meat is unethical because sometimes it may be case of some disease. And third is if I was a king, I will be deal to grow more crops and to improve dealing more crops. I will uh, give opportunity like goals, many goals that who farmer grow many crops. I will give them more money. That's it.
Okay.
Can I justify the second answer on that?
Yes.
I think taking life of another creature just to please your tongue is something unethical. So eating meat for humans is unethical.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I answer?
Yes, for sure. Yes, sure.
Okay.
Bhagyalakshmi.
So first answer, everyone said 1 lakh gold coins. And for the second
Yes.
answer, it was question that eating non-vegetarian is ethical for humans or not. So I believe that most of the people will say that it is unethical, but like Saurabh said that for to please our tongue, it is not right. But let's say it's about survival and it's a
Yes.
dog eat dog world, and if people are not ready to fight for their food, then indeed they will die of starvation. But we can see in the
Yes.
story, like when the mantri suggested the idea of eating meat, so the Mahamantri gave them an option that they can give 2 grams of their heart, but they were all selfish. So they were selfish of their lives, but not of their livestock. So they offered eating meat instead. But when we say in the real world, it is important for survival. It is not the want, but it is the need to stay alive. And the second question, if I were a non-vegetarian king, I would have suggested that it is up to the people. If they want to eat non-vegetarian food, then it is not the king who should say, who should have a say in this situation, but he is the kind of authority who will take care of his people. So I believe that he can make certain arrangements for livestock such a way that they will be sustained but not entirely killed. So I believe that it is unethical and it may seem wrong, but when it comes to survival, you need to have the food. That's it.
Yes. Mm. Thank you so much, Bhagyalakshmi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
may
may
I?
I?
Uh, Monica. Monica, right?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
first answer is 1 lakh one gold coins. And second one is, I think no, it is unethical to eat meat. We have to respect all the lives in the earth, but in the other hand, we have to see that the balance will biocycle in the animal and human. So it is bit
The food
it
chain
will
you were saying.
yes sir. Yes ma'am. And the third answer is, if I were a vegetarian king, I will aware people about vegetarian food, about their nutrition, about their benefits, and it is up to your choice. You will eat, you can eat meat.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I?
Yes, Nihal.
If so, the first one is 1 lakh gold coin.
Yeah.
And the second, it's I think it's unethical for human beings to eat meat because the animals also have life like us. We can't kill any livestock to fulfill our needs. Third one, if I were the non-vegetarian king, I will I will provided some benefits to the farmers, like they don't have to pay taxes to encourage them growing crops.
Okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, as we all know, ma'am, the answer to the first question is that 1 lakh gold coins were
One.
offered. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the second question is, ma'am, there's no single answer to this, exactly as Saurabh and Bhagyalakshmi and other friends said. Ma'am, for joy to satisfy your senses, it is highly ethical to have, non-vegetarian food, just to satisfy your senses. On the other hand, ma'am, in the Indian Penal Code as well, section 96 to section 106, self-defense is allowed, where the Indian Penal Code even allows the person to kill another one to save his or her own life. So, in that
Yes.
case, for survival, I think it is ethical, ma'am. Ma'am, coming to the third question.
Yes.
Uh, Ma'am, coming to the third question, ma'am, from the story, what we know is that when the money was raised and it was invested, all came back to normal. So, ma'am, had I been the king, I would have invested the same money from my treasury, and say if my treasury lacked that much money, I would have raised funds from the same panel of ministers, ma'am, and invested the same money. For in the story,
Okay.
we have seen investing that money solved all the issues.
Mm. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? Anyone?
Ma'am, can I speak?
Yes. Tushar. Yes.
So, as all know, the first answer is one lakh gold coins, and second answer, according to me, it's ethical because to maintain the biological system, we need to eat
Mm.
non-veg also as along with the vegetables. It all and the third answer, according to me, is the money I got from the mm, Mahamantri. I invest them and encourage the people from my kingdom to grow the more crops, but I didn't force anyone to eat any particular non-veg or veg food. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Tushar. Anyone else?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes. Abhishek.
Ma'am, first answer is 1 lakh gold coins, as everyone read.
Mm.
Second answer
Yes.
is I that it is non-ethical because when it comes to your life, then you will understand the value. But on the other hand, ma'am, I want to say that since I'm a veg eater from childhood, means it's
Yes.
very common for me. So I don't think that it is wrong. But now, when I heard the story, then in the heart, some corner, I would have realized that for pleasure, this is wrong. And then others said that for survival, it is right, but for pleasure, it is wrong. But at last, ma'am, it comes to your own mentality. What you think? In spite of listening all this, reading all this, means you have to decide whether you have to eat or
Okay.
not. And my third answer is
So I
mm,
would like to ask question from now on, you're going to stop eating non-veg?
ma'am, for me, I would say no.
Okay.
And ma'am, third answer is that if I were the non-veg king, I would emphasize more on agricultural work.
Okay.
Ma'am, may I speak?
Yes, Preeti.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am,
Good
I want
morning.
to answer the second one because everyone knows the first. Eating meat is
Yes, yes.
not eating meat is not ethical because God has given all living things a life, and we have not any right to kill them just for a taste and for nutrition. But, ma'am, it's a
Okay.
very difficult question because everybody have their own thinking. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. And
Ma'am,
third one?
may I?
Uh, yes, Khushi.
Yes, ma'am. The answer of first question was it was of 1 lakh gold coins for 2 grams of meat. The answer for second was that it's highly unethical to eat meat just to satisfy your needs. You can't kill the life of other animal, so it's highly unethical. And the answer for the one is a king is a leader who can't impose something on the people of his kingdom. So he should, even if I am a non-vegetarian king, I should have emphasized on the growing of crops so that it would be better for their, I think, life.
Okay.
Anyone
Anyone
else would like?
else?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes, Shivani.
the answer of the first question is 1 lakh gold coins, and second answer is according to the story, it is not ethical for humans because animals also have their own life, they have the right to live, and but in other way, if we see the another face of this, then in order to maintain the food chain, it is important. Or when like the dangerous animal living in forest um, attacks us, then it is our right to save us. So in this way, we kill animals. And the third answer is, if I were the non-vegetarian king, I make them aware all the farmers about the new techniques so they can grow well about all the crops. And I don't force anyone to grow, they do according to their will, but I always help them and always try to upgrade them in order after giving my help in whatever they need, I help them, always be ready for them. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shivani. Anyone else?
Ma'am, may I?
Gaurav, would you like to? Okay, Deepak.
Ma'am, the first answer is 1 lakh gold coins, and the second answer is it is unethical to eat meat as but as other lives are very also important. But when uh, when we have to save our lives at that case, so in order to save, we have to eat meat, but also it is a life cycle. So uh, in such a case we can eat meat to save our life. And the third answer is, uh, if I was a king, then I was not forced anyone to eat meat, and um, I would done as that king has done.
Okay. Gaurav, would you like to say something?
Yeah, thank you, Akansha, for taking today's session. I hope you all guys liked ma'am's session because I wanted you have a different taste
because you might be bored from me maybe now. But yeah, Akansha, you did very well. Thank you for conducting today's session. And as I am a participant as well, so I also would like to answer the questions. So as you all know the first answer itself, so I won't repeat it. For the second question, I believe as being an vegetarian, I will never promote non-veg. In my personal view, there are few points which I'd like to discuss for not eating non-vegetarian non-veg. First of all, it is because it has been proven that when you kill a life, it exhibits some negative vibes and energies. If you believe me, you can go and visit a slaughterhouse and just feel the aroma around it. So then you'll know the feeling of killing something. Then, for you, many of you might be knowing the Mark Zuckerberg. Many of you must be inspired by him also. But as Mark Zuckerberg himself said that I will eat meat when I will kill myself. So I can dare non-vegetarians that if you want to eat meat, just try hunting or killing before you eat it. So it is quite easy to go to a shop and purchase a meat, but you will understand when, once you kill someone, once you kill a life. Then, as Bhagya Lakshmi said, it was true in ancient times because when there were man hunters and ancient life, and ancient life it was subject to availability. That if there is a barren land and there are no crops and fruits, then it is compulsory for survival in order to kill or to hunt. Also, at that time, our minds, the human minds, were not that much evolved to differentiate between good and wrong and right. But now we are. Also, some might just justify it by saying that if we will not eat animals, then the population of animals might grow. I'd like to ask you one thing. What do you think that why the population of hens and goats are increasing? Just because we are breeding them. The human in their for their own sake of greed, they are breeding animals in order to feed themselves. If we stop breeding them, then nature is planned in such a way that it will balance itself for every animal. Then some might think that uh, also ancient sciences say that eating meat is not good for human health because when you eat meat, the body's most of the energy is being consumed for heating the meat, and it cannot be digested completely. Also, the modern sciences prove it. Then we some might also justify it by saying that uh, plants also have life. So if you are a vegan or vegetarian, then you are killing plants as well. It is true for some extent because plant also have life. They also have emotions, but it's all about the complexity of life. If you see that a well-developed mammal has the most complex system within it, and plant has a very simple system, so the amount of thing we are giving them is the lowest for in order to plant. But in order to survive, we have to do it. So it is also a kind of sin, but in order to survive, you have to do it. It is all about the least complex life, which plants. Then human are the only creature with straight spine. You might be knowing it because the straight spine, and which proves in our most intellectual capabilities. So, if uh, the rest of the animals are not that much intellect or developed in their minds, so they cannot differentiate between right and wrong. That is why they hunt in order to survive. But God has given us intellect to differentiate between good and right. If we have a choice between crops, eating veg and non-veg, if we are choosing non-veg just because in for the sake of taste, then it is not right. What I believe so. The for the last question, if I was if I was the king, then I would have taken some steps like I would have asked my neighboring kingdoms to help me with the crops if they had sufficient storage. Also, I would have invested heavily in agriculture as the king did. So I would have hired professionals for the problem which we were seeking in the kingdom, and ask them for help in order to grow crops. Also, I would have given the people their freedom to eat whatever they want. Because if I impose something that you must eat veg or you must only eat non-veg, then it is kind of dictatorship, and it should be. Although I'm a king, but I should maintain democracy in the kingdom. So I would have given them the option to eat whatever they like. If king would have given imposed that you must all eat meat itself, then what do you think would have happened after a while? Let's say the crops, the animals would also have been done, and then what? People would have started eating each other. So that is not a solution, permanent solution for anything, just to eat meat. So this was my opinion, and you may differ from my opinion. It is completely normal, but that is what my point of view is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gaurav.
All right.
I guess the time is. Uh,
Yeah.
so
The
you're
time is
ending the
moving up.
session?
No. You may end the session.
That time is up. So let's end the session. Okay. Thank you so much for participating.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am. Have a good day, ma'am.
Have a good day, ma'am.
Thank you so much. You too.